Hi, I'd like to welcome everyone to the second part of our series, Fundamentals to Success in Today's Climate. My name is Elijah, and we're speaking about ways to accelerate your digital strategy over the next couple of weeks. If this is the first time you're joining, this webinar is the second part of our series, with the first one being digital client onboarding. And just to recap, if you missed it, what digital client onboarding is, please talk to us afterwards, because we have a really great webinar that talks to what Blue Sky's been doing with some of our clients, along with how we've helped some of our other clients reduce the onboarding time of clients digitally from 2 weeks to 2 hours. So reach out to us afterwards. We're welcome to send that recording to you, or leave your email address in our comment box, or email us at info@bluesky.co.za. For this webinar today, we're focusing on customer service digitalized. So thank you so much for joining. Just as a high-level agenda, the first introduction would be Blue Sky, who we are, and why we're presenting this today. The next point would be, why do you need to digitize your customer experience now? What's the context behind this? Why have you got into a position now where you need to be seriously considering this? So we'll walk you through that process. And finally, we'll walk you through how Blue Sky can help your business with those quick wins. It's all great and well to think of the long-term goal and all the cool innovative things that you can do. What can you do now? Considering the circumstances, what can you do now to put yourself in a position where you can succeed quite quickly? Along with that, we've roped in Salesforce. So we've got some Salesforce experts talking about what they've done in this space in the region. And then we'll transition over to identifying a problem statement. So let's talk about it quite practically. And we can talk about how in the real world you're dealing with some issues in this space, and then how to solve it, as well as a quick demo from that point on. Finally, there'll be a live Q&A. So please feel free to drop a comment or question in the question widget to your right. And yeah, let's kick off. Oh, finally. Excuse me, today's host. My name is Elijah. I'm a business development manager at Blue Sky, and we got a subject matter expert today joining from the Blue Sky team. His name is Shmuley Pels, and he's a Salesforce solution architect with north of 10 years experience on the platform. So he'll be talking at length about the work that we've done in this space. Just a bit of context. So Blue Sky, who we are, what we've done. So Blue Sky started as a small cloud provider in 2016. We're 4 years old now, and our growth over the last 4 years has been phenomenal. We've quickly grown to be one of the fastest growing partners in the region, and one of the biggest in South Africa right now, if not Africa. We have north of 120 certifications in our stable, with north of 40 or 250 certified consultants. We are one of the largest partners in Africa, I must stipulate that again, by certified experts. And worldwide, we're ranked 111 out of 1,300 Salesforce partners globally. So why the need now, right? It's all well and good to go, okay, great, we need to go down this road of customer service digitalization and putting yourself in a position where, great, we need to engage with our clients digitally. But why now? Because from our perspective, what we've seen is that with this transition to digital experiences, the new customer experience benchmark has been set. So anything less, if clients experience anything less than excellent customer service, that will be perceived as a poor customer service, poor bit of customer service, and result in a material impact on business. Your bottom line will be affected. So we're saying that consider it now, have these discussions now, and let's unpack what this could mean for your business. To unpack that a bit further, the COVID-19 pandemic has changed everyone's businesses, right? In the past, you would have been in an advantageous position where someone could come into your offices and quite quickly engage with your consultants. But now, companies quickly need to move that same customer experience that you're willing to offer face-to-face online, and give them the quality experience that is unhampered. Along with that, you need to reevaluate it in this digital space, because if there's an increase or drastic increase the number of tickets that come through. Is your business capable of managing that increase in the number of tickets? Finally, you need to embrace the new responsibilities in this digital age, right? Nothing will be the same after this crisis. If you put it in perspective, you'll realize that the way things used to happen in the past will not be the same going forward. And is your business ready for that? So let's talk about the three critical areas that need to be addressed. The first one would be we need to adopt a new way of working, all right? And we sort of related this to something that we heard quite recently from Augie Ray, the VP of Customer Experience at Gartner. He says we cannot promote our brands as responsive and caring and customer focused while ignoring too many of our clients' needs and complaints over digital channels. So this means that over time, now we're getting to this place where digital channels are now the primary means of engagement. And if people are complaining and are unhappy with their engagement with your brand over these digital channels, they're not going to want to engage with you a bit more. So you need to put them in a position where they're very comfortable with all the different means at their disposal to engage with you. And like as mentioned earlier, COVID has expedited this process, so you need to be doing this now. And this alludes to the next point, adopting a new way of working, right? Working from home is the new way of working. That's the norm, right? If you're not doing it now, you will be doing it over the next couple of months in some way or fashion, right? And this requires cloud infrastructure and software that enables always on and always accessible customer engagement capability, right? Are your consultants always available? Are they always ready to pick up tickets and aid your customers, right? Are you ready for this? And what does this mean for your business? The next thing would be improve contact center management, right? So we want to look at actually harnessing data analytics and AI to inform tailor-made customer engagement, right? We perceive this as making engagements responsive and relevant to addressing customer needs, right? Reprioritizing and the sequence of customer support that addresses the most critical needs first, with non-digital context being deflected to digital. So how we see this is that if you're going to have some sort of digital engagement platform, right, these need to be dealt with first, and the agent or the tools that you put in place from a digital perspective cater for this, where non-critical items can then be dealt with in a subsequent fashion. So from that perspective, it still ensures that the attention that you would have shown critical needs from clients when you're seeing them face to face or when you're talking to them over the phone, the systems that you put in place can still recognize that this is a critical case and it needs to be addressed accordingly. Finally, augment and automate service, virtual agents. Virtual agents is something that you may have seen or experienced in any engagement with a lot of the brands. And the idea is that are you able to stand up and enhance a virtual agent's capabilities to support clients with COVID-19 specific requests or just growing business as usual volumes, right? You look at the volume starting to spike through digital means and you're saying, can your virtual agents or the systems at play cater for the spike in requests? And making sure that going forward, your system changes and is enhanced according to what kind of requests come through. From that perspective, this is where we see Blue Sky as your consulting partner coming into play, right? We're powered by Salesforce products, and we've been helping clients for an extended period of time now with firstly, the immediate COVID needs, but beyond that as well. I mean, clients have been going down this digital engagement path for a while now. WhatsApp integration, virtual agents, bots, and so forth and so on. But in this COVID-related scenario, Salesforce has released care packages that can quickly be deployed and help you respond rapidly to customers, employees, partners, and communities. So we're here, and please feel free to reach out again in the chat or drop us an email afterwards, because we can help you enhance these accelerated digital experiences, and gear that for the future. So we can put a care package in place for the next 3 months, and then afterwards we can then tailor that for your business to then say, okay, great, what tools have actually aided my business in this crisis environment that I can then take on for business as usual. Another thing is that in this environment, now more than ever, businesses need to alleviate employee and customer concerns. There's a lot of growing concern in employee bases, customer bases around what's happening with your business and the general economic circumstances. And again, Salesforce has configured this, pre-configured the solution that caters for self-service help terminals, FAQs, employee digital learning platforms to keep employees engaged, SMS alerts, and also an omni-channel workspace for agents who are working from home. This would then be tied into AI-powered bots for customers to engage with. Right, so these have already been pre-configured, and we are ready to deploy this. And please speak to us after this. We're happy to put together a team to understand what your business requirements are and tailor-make the solution to align to your business requirements, especially in this environment. Finally, before I hand over to Shmuli, please be sure to tune into our next webinar, where we unpack Blue Sky's crisis management tool powered by Salesforce. We've titled it a care package, but the idea is that it will help you get through this time. Our next webinar will be on the 13th of May, so please keep an eye for more details.
Thank you, Eli. I wanted to talk about two approaches today. One being what companies can do right now, and secondly, what can companies do now or start doing now, looking at facilitating the digitization process for the future. So to start off with, I wanted to look at 3 different customer pain points. Knowing who to contact and how, so customers often do not know who specifically to be in touch with for a certain query, and what is the best method, or how they need to, or how should they be in contact with the company, be it by email, telephone call, etc. Secondly, transparency and status of the query. Customers will often ask a question or request help. That query would go into a black box and there would be radio silence. Thirdly, having a correct file information across the company, which is consistent and accurate, is often also a problem that customers experience. So who is your customer? It's not an existential question, but I wanted to bring out a point which is as follows. Often customers experience these problems, which are a direct reflection of what's happening internally. What I mean, when looking at this customer issue of not knowing who to contact or how to contact them, right, via email, or telephone, is often a reflection of what's happening internally, where employees, when they need help to address a customer's problem, also don't know who specifically they need to be in contact with if they need help from a different department, and how, or rather, there isn't a consistent method of collaboration across the company. Do they email? Do they phone? Or do they walk over to their colleague's desk and request help? In looking at the transparency problem as well, when customers request help, right, there's just this radio silence. It goes into a black box. You'll often find that internally as well, when employees request help from other departments, this request also goes into a black box, into this ether, so to speak, and they will only get an update if they walk over to the colleague's desk and say, what's happening? And thirdly, in regards to the single view of a client, or accurate information across the board, I think a good way to look at this is looking at it as a coin with, right, 2 different sides. It's the same coin, it's the same piece of information. The view that people have is just from different perspectives. You have the customer perspective and the employee perspective. but at the end of the day, it's one thing. So if a customer calls in or uses a specific channel, be it email, phone, or post, that information is recorded on or in a central location accessible across the board, accessible by all employees of the company. It doesn't matter what system they're busy using. In order to look at this information, that information of the customers is is consistent and the same. So it's just two sides of the one coin of a file, right? There's a customer view, employee's view. There would be different types of views, but at the end of the day, you're still holding and still looking at one piece of information or one file, so that there's a consistent view across the board of the company. There's transparency between the employee, the customers, interdepartmental as well, and that will give a very accurate view of what's happening. Okay, so what can companies do right now, today or tomorrow, in order to address this using Salesforce? There are a couple of pieces of functionality Salesforce offers that are very effective and often are not used to the fullest potential. Chatter, as an example, is Salesforce's collaboration tool and is a very effective means of collaboration, and if used, it would be a consistent method of collaboration internally. So let's just say use Chatter in cases when agents need or help with a specific problem that a customer raised. They could use Chatter to collaborate internally within the case or within the context of that problem, and that would give a very consistent central location of requesting help and of seeing what the problem is. If customers are using communities, the same thing can apply there. They can collaborate with the company on the specific request, a specific case, which would increase the transparency and the collaboration. So you'd have the customer, the agent, and other departments involved as well, all collaborating on a specific problem within the context of that problem. Another piece of functionality that is extremely effective and easy to set up is scheduled reports. So you can create a report that is looking at cases that are over SLAs or cases that are still open, and have that scheduled to be emailed out to certain people, yourself or other people, managers, whatever it might be. You get it via email on a daily or weekly basis. Comes to your email, you can see a summary, and you're able to also click through to Salesforce as well. A very effective, easy to set up. Thirdly, dashboards and homepage. Taking for granted that we're using Lightning over here, you can have specific homepages that are focused on personas, which we'll talk about shortly. So as an example, agents, when they log in, will have a homepage that is specifically designed for them, which should be contextual to what they would need to address today. Also, you would be able to embed a dashboard into that homepage, which would give them a rolled-up view of their performance, of what they need to be doing also today. Very effective, also also relatively simple to set up. So these are three different points. There are more, and we're quite happy to do a quick health check, so to speak, on what you're using at the moment, or what you can use more in order to address and accelerate this digitalization or customer experience. Finally, what I wanted to talk about is what you can do now or start doing now in order to accelerate the customer digitization process. I think so often you say, okay, fine, I understand we need to accelerate our digitalization process. Where do we start? What do I do? It's sometimes very overwhelming. I've found that a persona-driven approach is very effective. It gives you a starting point and a framework to work within that cuts across the customer all the way through to the employee. So going back to what we were saying before, where the customer's problems are often a mirror or image or insight into what's happening within the company, it's important to address that whole that whole the personas or the persona of the customer through to the employee in order to make sure that the customer is happy, right? So make sure that your internal employees know who and how to collaborate will ensure that the customers know who and how to be in contact or what channels to use. So going into this persona aspect, so let's look at it from the employee and the customer point of view in terms of personas. And if you're looking at internally, you would have a manager, you could have a manager and a call agent as an example. A manager persona would have a very different set of requirements and functionality that they need to see versus a call agent. So a manager would be a rolled up view, a reporting dashboard, and metrics and analytics kind of driven functionality versus a call agent would be very task specific day to day. And the same thing that goes from a customer perspective. There are different types of customers. You're a new customer versus an existing customer, or new as in potential customer. Their requirements and their journey would be quite different from an existing customer. And even if we're talking about non-tech savvy customers as well, their journey and their touch points would require a different set or different set of functionality than the new customer. So looking at it from a persona perspective and focusing on that would give you a good starting point, an effective starting point to address the customer's needs all the way through to employees back to the customer, ensuring that you're taking care of the functionality that they customers and your employees need. Salesforce has a great set of material available via their trailhead that focuses on the persona-driven approach. So they have templates, interview templates. They also, for example, have a priority matrix in terms of which persona you should address first. A lot of information there, trailheads that you can go down and look at as well. And of course, if you need help from us, we're happy to come in and design the approach, facilitate workshops, and translate that functionality those requirements into Salesforce functionality as well. Hope that's given you a practical advice, some steps that you can follow immediately. Give us a call if you need more help. Thank you.
You'll be hosted today by Hayden Zaide, our solution engineer, which will demo the technology, and myself, Pierre Fumaoli. I'm a customer experience specialist, and we both work for the emerging country here at Salesforce. So what does Salesforce bring to help you with this? And let's get back to what it means in detail that you engage in a piling technology purchases over time. And this is the result. If we look at what's expected to be deployed in the channel technology, we've started with phone, then email response system, it's another technology stack, then probably portals, it's another technology stack, that's probably mobile application, yet another one, social, yet another one, and now we have messaging, and probably it will be again. This is really complex to manage, because when you come to the organization using the channel to respond to the customer, they tend to split out by channels, because that's the only way to get organized around these technologies that are separated. And the integration to your backend system is also separated, making the agent the only one making the integration happening. And that's a lot of work, a lot of burden on their shoulders, which in turn make the customer experience very cumbersome, very inconsistent. It's also very hard to manage all of this, not only from a technology standpoint, but from an organizational standpoint. Visibility for business is really, really low, because how do you make a reporting out of this mess? But now let's spend some time on the technology itself and review the demo.
Before we jump in the demo, I would like to give you a high-level overview about messaging architecture and process flow. After that, I would like to show you how you can easily configure your channel and expose that in your community or mobile app. After that, we will see the customer interaction with WhatsApp in a demo. And at least I would like to give you a high level consideration regarding WhatsApp integration with Salesforce. That is the messaging high level architecture, or say the appropriate marketing architecture. We see in the left side supported messaging channels, or say for now GA. Apple Chat and WeChat are gray, which now not GA. We have SMS, Facebook, WhatsApp. We do run WhatsApp service in a partnership with Twilio, so we don't connect directly to Salesforce. All those messaging channels use OTT, that means over the top architecture, that leverage our gateway to connect to Salesforce and are not bundled in Salesforce as a product. Over the messaging gateway, which is based in Heroku, we can connect those messaging channels directly to the CRM system, leveraging the RTS Service Cloud Real-Time Stack, which connect you to Service Cloud routing and omni-channel, and in the same time utilize the whole service or platform capabilities. But also, bot could take action to service those messaging channels through the gateway. Okay, how messages are actually processed? That's a high-level process flow. If an inbound message comes in the system, we will check for the processing user. If that user exists, we will check for the messaging session. If the messaging session exists, we will proceed with the session to proceed with the conversation. If this messaging process doesn't exist, we will create a new session for the processing user or existing processing user. The other case, if this processing user doesn't exist, we will create a new, or say, processing user, and for that we will create also a new messaging session. After that, we determine if the agent initiated the session. If yes, we check if the agent or the same agent is still available, and we route this conversation to the agent in case he is available. If not, we will route the conversation to the omni-channel. The goal of that to keep the conversation with the same agent and to stay in the customer conversation or to stay in the customer context. If the agent did not initiate the conversation, we need to check if a bot conversation have been activated. So if yes, we need to route the conversation to a bot and start a conversation with a bot. And after that, maybe the customer needs to have an interaction with a human agent, and that will be routed to the omni channel. If the bot not activated, the messaging session will be automatically routed the omni channel and to check if an agent available with the proper skills. You can initiate real-time messaging conversations, but you can also automate your messaging depends on your business scenarios using different Salesforce technologies. With the process builder and flows, you can build and configure those messages with point and click. With bot, as you have seen, you can start a rule-based conversation and after that trigger any messaging based on your business case. Now let's jump in the system and see how we can configure different messaging and extend our support channel with the WhatsApp channel. For that, you need to activate your messaging capabilities, and in the list below you will see all available messaging channels you can utilize, and you can add a new channel, and you can add your WhatsApp channel if WhatsApp is configured and approved. From the channel menu, you can create your own channel menu with the proper messaging lists. And if we look to our Cyrus channel menu, we will see the existing and configured messaging list. And WhatsApp is one of those messaging channels. So you can expose them in your community or portal or on any device. For now, we would like to start a WhatsApp conversation with Cyrus. As a customer on the right side, I have an issue with my solar panel and I would like to start a conversation with Cyrus support via WhatsApp. I post a message on Cyrus support channel asking for help, and Cyrus support asks to confirm my email. Indeed, I have been identified as non-user, and Cyrus provides a self-service through a bot inside WhatsApp to provide a good experience. So I can check my cases, my orders, or browse for knowledge article. But for now, I would like to check my cases, and I can create a new case regarding my solar panel. So I need to provide further information to qualify my issue. That's great. The case has been created. I have a case number that may I use for further references, but let me check again my existing cases. The first one I have created, I see in the top of the list, and I can check the status of this case. It's still new, but it's an urgent issue for me, and I would like to speak to a live person. So I take the chance and start a conversation with an agent. It looks good. My conversation has been routed to a live agent. So in the left side, we see the console of the agent. My issue has been routed to an omni-channel, and we see the inbound message coming from the WhatsApp. So I will take the request that have been routed to me. As you know, you can configure your console in the way that fits to your business requirement. For this purpose, I have the contact details, phone number, email, but also a knowledge base where I can attach any knowledge base article to the customer. Even I can assign this conversation to an existing object like case or contact. But for now, for me, it's more interesting to understand the conversation or the history of the conversation of the customer. Case has been created, and from there, before I start the conversation, I would like to use my quick text to greet the customer. And at the same time, before I start any conversation, I would like to attach or send an email or the message regarding our terms and conditions to be agreed by the customer. So I pick the terms and conditions for Cyrus. I can review it by myself, but for now I would like to send it to the customer. So the customer can have an access instantly to this document and can review it, and maybe the customer needs to confirm this information. So I will make it short. I will close now the session using also any other quick text, but for thanking the customer, I would like to give him a goodie and send him nice picture from Astro. And so that's the way how the communication goes back and forth with the customer, also transferring any documents or images through WhatsApp and the console. For that, I would like now to close the chat, and hopefully we have a happy customer. Last but not least, I would like to highlight some consideration regarding WhatsApp. You need to have a Facebook Manager ID to set up WhatsApp with Salesforce. If you would like to define any templates, consider that any template need to be approved by WhatsApp and not Salesforce. Any customer interaction or a session will be available for 24 hours. After that, the session will be closed or deleted. And as you know, each interaction needs to be reported. Therefore, you will find in App Exchange some examples where you can import that in your org, but also define your own reports and dashboards in your KPIs. With that, I would like to hand over back to Pierre-Yves and thank you for your time.
So the technology is here and can serve you, but how can you benefit and become resilient? Let's have a look at a number of use cases and how you can manage the value. First of all, it's a very valuable opportunity. WhatsApp again and only is by itself a very valuable opportunity. Think of it as a nice window shop in the first place, because you can brand your WhatsApp business account very clearly to the customer. They do not engage with a phone number, they engage with the brand, which is identified. Secondly, it's a choice. It's always better to offer channels as a number of choices. So they may know you by your phone number, but they will now know you by another platform that they like, which is WhatsApp. And then it's a persistent platform. That is very interesting. And it's a secured one too, because people can engage, not wait in line. They are not hanging on the phone, and they can come back anytime. And the text will be here. It's very clear where you left the conversation from. So unlike even your live chat, you have a persistent messaging platform to engage with. Very valuable. If we play with the math and take a relatively modest number of customers, let's say 200,000 customers that generate or 200,000 calls a year, if you can avoid and reduce by the combination of bots and the productivity you get from using WhatsApp platform, we'll come to that with an example later on, you can probably avoid 40% of this load, which if you average the handling time makes a lot of hours saved. And let's say in emerging countries, the salary for agent is still pretty low, but you can scale these $3 per hour to the market you serve. That could easily and very fast generate some cost saving that are hard budget not spent. Okay, that protects your tight budget even during crisis where you need to still get closer to your customer but don't have a generous budget. But most of all, it prepares you to come back to growth with the best capabilities. Of course, this is just an example. When we go to your places, we'll look at the extended value map. And again, this one is just an example. There are multiple sources of initiative in business that you can drive, like the customer experience one is a big focus, but also the hard dollar or hard euro or hard your own local currency, productivity and cost savings. This comes from a number of Salesforce capabilities like the 360 view of the customer or the workflow automation capability of the technology that we line up to our initiative. With that, we operate a business value review and find if your customer gets more loyal or spend more in their basket, and if your cost to serve are positively impacted down by the deployment of this technology. So we help you with this. And that's what we've done with brands across the world. And specifically this one, which is a growing business. Actually, it was exploding growing business. This is essential oil as an industry, and they'll use a number of channels to go to market, from wholesaler to retail to personal individual advisor. All of these people going and helping them go into market were calling up to get advice, and this couldn't grow. Okay, so they had a double strategy using Marketing Cloud approach to re-engage dormant consultants and wholesalers on one way, and the use of WhatsApp on the other side, which helped them with the like of one agent makes 4 times more conversation than what they could observe with phone. And with this, they could re-engage this market, and they could enjoy a very high net promoter score, which is a good indication of how sustainable this approach becomes. There are much more use cases. The B2C is probably, of course, one place you can benefit. We just talk about doTERRA. This is what they did. They had automated journey, which is automated conversation engaging on channels like SMS, which could go on with the brand by offering to go on a one-to-one personal way using the WhatsApp account. So one side, an automated nurturing campaign, which could become a more personalized one when it becomes a WhatsApp campaign. Many other ways could be for shoppers to get one-to-one concierge support, for example, for VIP kind of shoppers, to not only use SMS, but also social ads, and continue in the same way on WhatsApp, to use bots, as we mentioned, to gather sales information, not just service triage, but to understand what's the expectation from a need analysis perspective and then transfer over to a telesales or to a qualifying lead organization, and to turn any kind of transactional, basically, situation into a conversation. So I send you an update on your bill, but you may re-engage with me if you want to know more about one of the products listed here. We've seen tremendous take-up on this technology, and you see worldwide brands here all over this page which are craving to improve their presence over WhatsApp. And that's, yes, indeed, in B2C, but also in B2B, like Michelin and its distribution channels. doTERRA was actually also B2B. So it's across the board. You don't have to be a B2C brand to engage. And you can do this at any size of a business. SunExpress is a much smaller business in tourism, so you can engage at any size, really. How do I get to action with these capabilities? The first thing is, it's not just about adding a channel, like we mentioned. It's just one piece of the game plan. So we published what we call the Digital Customer Service Playbook, which is a benchmark of everything you need to do in order to take advantage of this platform. And you can start by building a foundation, which would always be a good idea to start with. But then you can navigate into a next phase, which is really your priority. And you will have with this guide that you can find on the web, which is called the Digital Customer Service Playbook, you will find ways to organize and decide and strategize. Second thing we do in these difficult days is we have made a number of initiatives to help customer face the difficulties of the crisis. We call them Salesforce Care Solutions, one of which is employee customer support solution, which includes digital channel approach to deploying a solution. And the promise here is you can use our technology and deploy it very fast. It's pre-configured and you can use it 90 days free. So please engage with us if this is of interest to you. Also, and most importantly, you can go to our web training portal for free. This training portal is called trailhead.salesforce.com. I would really urge you to review the content here, which can help you identify scopes of projects like deploying a digital channel capability, and find the right training at the business level, at the IT level, at the developer level, or user administration level, the way you will want to see it and make it work for you.